Hello, hello, Mr. Duke Lowry. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Brother Man. What's going on? Bent and
Oh,
strong, I see.
well, as you can see, I'm trying to put on earbuds, stuff a mic up my shirt. We got the audio little glitch figured out, and I'm scrambling. Other than that, not too bad.
Yeah, well, you coming in loud and clear. People probably trying to turn that volume down, saying, "Ooh, Louisiana
Yeah,
Watch is blowing us out tonight."
let me see if I can crank that down. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get my air conditioning noise off of here. And I'm going to change our little hashtag to, let's see. Oh, and we are flying the colors of Louisiana Watch tonight, by the way. Did you notice?
I did notice. I did notice. I think that probably has something to do with the subject matter that we're going to discuss tonight.
Yes, and so folks don't get confused. We're still kind of having what I call our identity tech crisis. This is Bossier Watch, also slash Louisiana Watch. So I've got the Louisiana Watch colors up. Tonight we've got stuff to talk about Louisiana and Bossier. And Whataburger Matters is our new hashtag.
Shazam!
All right, let's do a what is it, 2.5 minute countdown. Y'all go get your friends, get some popcorn, get something to drink. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. I've said every time I really like that little smooth salsa, samba, whatever it is, type intro music.
Whatever it is, look here. David Womack, he's already said, been working 80 hours a week. Says off in the evenings, trying to play catch up.
Trying to play catch up. Okay, folks, let's do an audio check. Hey, Barry. Hey, of course, David, Stephanie, Heath, and all that. Let us know if the audio sounds okay. I'm sure mine's a little bit hotter than Duke's because I've got the software running on mine, but make sure y'all can hear us okay. Hey, Mike Collier. Um,
The
all right,
Collier
so,
clan says Field of Dreams game on TV. Is he talking
interesting.
about the rerun or what is he talking about?
I don't know. If you build it, they will come. If we show it, they will come watch it.
You better believe it. And hey, tonight is a good show to watch because we have got some entertaining things tonight.
Yes, we do. And I've got to apologize to you, Duke, and everybody out there. I am about as unprepared and scrambling as it gets. So, Duke,
Look,
get your saddle ready. You
look,
may have to carry me along in this episode.
lucky for you, I spent 2 hours today watching Shreveport City Council meetings.
Oh, God help you.
Yeah, but that's not the important part of today. You know,
Mhm.
did I mean I know you were kind of watching things and you see our hashtag there, Waterburger Matters. I mean, everybody watching out there, let's say who likes Waterburger? Raise your hand.
Two hands. I love Whataburger. I'm all about Whataburger, especially their
Well,
breakfast. Have you ever eaten their breakfast on a bun?
I have not. I don't do the breakfast there.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that breakfast on the bun is arguably the best breakfast thing out there. So, what's up with Whataburger?
Well, as you may or may not know, and I think maybe if you, I mean, the other thing, hey, before we jump all the way off into Waterburger Matters, we need to share with everybody a little bit about what all we're going to cover tonight because,
Oh, yeah.
we, yeah, because they may say, you know what, I hate Waterburger. I'm not listening to these guys go on about Waterburger. I'm not going to do it. All right, well, let's just tease you a little bit. And what about Bossier City politics? Does the resurrection of George Dement politics in Bossier, does that stir your interest a little bit?
Well, so when you say resurrect, do you mean that literally? Is George Dement still alive?
Well, I don't know if
Forgive me
I
for
don't
not knowing, folks.
no, Mr. George is not still alive. He
Okay, I
passed
didn't
some
think
years
so.
ago.
So you
But
like
I
really want
will
to resurrect him,
well
right?
what I'm telling you is his politics were invoked in Bossier City.
Oh, really? Gosh,
They
they're
were.
so we're not the only ones reaching back to the Link Coleman era because he was mayor when that whole
Now,
thing started, right?
No,
So
you've got to clarify a little bit. You said we're reaching back to Link Coleman. Is it actually us reaching back to Link Coleman, or is it
we're being
some?
dragged that way in the past,
I know
slowly but surely.
this anonymous information that keeps flowing in, you know, about this Coleman thing. I mean, it's almost as if somebody's trying to say, you know, there's something there to this Link Coleman thing. Y'all really ought to kind of drag that thing out.
I know, just when we think we've kind of had enough of it, we get a little more info and a little more info. Look, I got to tell you something. I'm used to dealing with a lot of data with the tech business and all that sort of thing that I do. But this is like the floodgates of data. I mean, people are sending us stuff and trying to sift through this, and God help you having to watch a couple hours of a Shreveport meeting. I mean, there's just not enough hours in the day. We need to like clone ourselves. What was that movie with Michael Keaton or was it Michael Keaton? Yeah.
I,
Duplicity or whatever. We like cloned himself. Anyway.
I don't know. It's going to take me at least a year to get infamous out of my mind. It's stuck with me now.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to do something about this camera situation the next show because I keep
Did you
beating
knock
my
your
desk.
camera? We're gonna
I
super
did.
glue. I tell you what's good. Gorilla Glue gel, the little bottle with the brush in it. I use it for fishing. That stuff's like magic. Beats the pants off of
Yeah.
super glue.
Well, we are refining our craft here, so folks, bear with us. We know we're amateurs, but we're winging through it here.
Yeah.
So, and hey, we also somebody said that Robert Berry resigned. Did you hear
Gosh,
that?
I'll wonder. Well, the last I heard was that the levy board had heard that Robert Berry resigned. There was somebody that spoke at the levy board meeting concerning the Cypress district, and it was mentioned, well, hey, we heard that he resigned. I wonder where people heard that.
I, I don't know, but I will say, you shouldn't be putting disinformation out, Rex Moncrief. You and that Bossier Watch, y'all should not be lying to the public and deceiving the public about things.
Well, you're right. We might have to suffer through another one of the PR letters written by a set of lawyers to
It,
try to counteract the truth if, we just keep doing those pesky little things like pointing out their own documents and their own numbers and their own financials or their own P&Ls. And by the way, Gary and Alex and the rest of you, your own P&Ls showed you at negative 400 and some odd $1,000 for the month of, let's see, was it June or July, whichever one. I think it was July of this year. So
you know,
you're in the black. You're in the black at less than $200,000, and we got 6 months more to go in the year. Those are your numbers, not mine. Keep making up your little fairy tales if you want.
maybe they can get another loan and show it as income, and
Right.
and then say they're not in the, they're not upside down.
Look, you don't even have to listen to me, folks. Just listen to Travis Moorhart, their famed CPA and auditor. And look, Travis is a nice guy, but that firm does auditing work and all that for what, the police jury, I think maybe even the city council and various other entities, and they're straight up people, and everything's just hunky dory because they audit it, and I'm not saying they're doing anything illegal. I'm not saying that they're hiding money. I'm just saying that their financial statements don't lie. Remember, folks, budgets are projections. Budgets are projections. That's all I got to say. Get the financials. I have them all posted, folks. Okay, let me get off
All
my
right.
soapbox for a minute. Let's move to something else.
So Waterburger matters. I don't know if you know. I know you noticed because you commented, and
Right.
you know,
Sure.
I actually didn't know exactly what the hashtag was, and you came in, and of course, being on top of the social things as you are, I made a post, and I think it's the second one down there on Facebook, and it actually got a little bit of traction, and some folks. No,
Yeah.
that wasn't it. You know,
Well, I know, but I want to set up a little context for everybody.
yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we got to set up a little context. So, folks, this is Mayor Tommy Chandler, and he posted a picture, or his people did, whatever. Anyway, and he's eating Whataburger. Now,
And
what
he
could be the
says
harm in that?
some mayors like to eat Whataburger every day. I mean, so this morning, you may not believe this, but this morning I get a message and somebody's saying, is this what we've stooped to the mayor of Bossier City?
Now, somebody thinks that eating at Whataburger is stooping. Do you know what it costs to eat at Whataburger?
I don't care what it costs, but just some people's opinion, Rex, is that this is unbecoming of a mayor of a city. I
Really?
mean, I don't know that I agree. I don't agree with. No, I don't agree with that.
I don't
I
either.
mean,
What should he have been at Two Johns or Silver Star to go? And look, nothing wrong with Two Johns and Silver Star. The food is off the chain good, but let's face it, it costs me about 10 to 11 bucks, sometimes maybe 12, to eat at Whataburger. It's $30 a head usually to go into Two Johns or go to Silver Star and eat. It's worth it. I'm not knocking their food or their service at all, but Whataburger, who's gonna? I don't even want to know who sent you that
but
text. I don't.
yeah, and no, I'm not going to say that doesn't matter. But here's the thing. So I felt inclined. I mean, I knew the backstory. A lot of people. I was also surprised that a lot of people are wondering what's the deal with Waterburger. Why is everybody posting about Waterburger? So I felt inclined to
Right,
post something about Waterburger,
right.
and I did.
Well, and
And
let's hold on a second. Let's take a look at that. So give me give me just a second. Let me make sure I pull up the right screenshot here. Hold on. That would be bad to pull up the wrong screenshot. So, were you at a local Whataburger or just? I mean, they're all pretty much the
well,
same.
I was actually over in East Texas.
Hmm. Okay.
Anyway, we won't. I'm not going to say
Right.
what exactly I was doing over there, but I was over in East Texas, and I was
Right.
kind of having this dialogue, and I felt inclined to needed to get lunch, so I stopped, got some Whataburger. Some people say this is a sign of lack of sophistication. I think
Well,
that's a badge of honor.
I would agree. Now, yeah, I got to tell you, maybe this is beneath us now since we're so infamous with Bossier Watch and Louisiana Watch. You know, Duke, you just can't be going to Whataburger and going to get fast food anymore.
You know, it, so again, this still begs the question. Somebody, even after watching this post, said, "What is the deal with all of this Whataburger? Why? Why?" Well, you have to go across the river to the city of Shreveport to kind of get the why all this is being said about Whataburger and what's being posted.
Okay.
So there was some interesting comments in the last city council meeting in Shreveport by one of the councilmen. And what they were referencing
Mm-hmm.
was the pay of the mayor,
Oh,
which
really?
is yeah, that's an interesting subject as well too.
All right, so give me a second here. So I'm going to try to pull this up. So keep fill in time for a second, Duke. I got to get this pulled
Well,
up because I'm absolutely unprepared.
yeah, the thing is like so the criticism that was being given to Tommy Chandler for eating Whataburger, and he was actually taking a shot. I ain't gonna say taking a shot, but just having fun, making a statement about Shreveport, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna see why here in a minute. And folks were being, oh, that's no class, or that's low blow, or whatever, or not becoming of the mayor. Well, I would suggest that folks maybe should take a walk down memory lane. I remember a time when the mayor of Shreveport, Mayor Glover and Mayor Walker frequently had little shots at each other and having jokes and having I mean, it was a good dialogue,
Sure.
one
Yeah.
promoting each person's city and kind of bringing it down to earth. And my viewpoint on it is, I, I, I like the idea of a leader that, uh, is on the same level with you than having a leader that you're having to look up to way above you. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree 100%. Like I said, I wasn't really, trying to make fun of Two Johns and all that too much. But yeah, I would much rather have a mayor that eats like we do at, Whataburger. I mean, look, I ate at what's the new fish and hamburger place up Airline, Flying Burger. I eat there a lot. I eat at Griff's a lot, people. Griff's is off the chain, and Griff's brings back fond childhood memories of me being at Ruston High School.
So anyway,
All right.
so the Shreveport City Council has this meeting, right?
Right.
And they get a resolution or a motion was brought up, and I think it was at about the 15140 mark, something along that line.
All right.
And it starts talking about pay raises for the mayor of Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
And Councilman Nicholson had an amazing statement when he
Really?
spoke up on it. He
Well,
did.
let me see if I can get to that. So here we go. Can we hear this? Why can't? Oh, here we go. Can we not hear that?
I'm not hearing it. No.
Hmm. Well, we have some little tech issues here. Hold on a second, system audio. Okay. Anyway, proceed on.
Well, let's see something here. Hang on a second. So basically, what Councilman Nicholson ended up saying was it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that a city with a population of about 190,000 pays the mayor 95,000 a year. This sends the wrong message about how critical that role is. I don't think the mayor of Shreveport should be eating a steak dinner every day, but I don't think he should be eating Whataburger every day either.
Well, he's not really making fun of Whataburger, but again, Whataburger ain't cheap.
What,
So,
what's wrong with Whataburger? I
oh,
mean,
come on.
why you got to pick on Whataburger?
Okay, so that statement's made. Then Tommy Chandler comes back in, and Duke Lowry come in to support Whataburger, right?
But That's right. We came back in, but I got to tell you, we can't. There's even better than that. We can't hold a candle to that. And I don't know. I'm hopeful you're going to be able to play it. But Chris Redford had the best. Chris
Oh,
Redford
okay.
hit it
So
out of the park.
let me see if I can get his video here, and let's see if we can make it play nicely. Um, oh, he's even got on a Whataburger shirt. Let me see.
Oh yeah, he went all out.
Yeah. Let me try this. Let's try this, folks. Bear with me a second. Ah, why am I not?
The old tech gremlins are catching up with us again.
Yes,
Well,
they are. This is great video. So I tell you what, here's what we'll do. And honestly, I don't have time to try to troubleshoot this, but this is the video right here. So you can go to Facebook and search for Chris Redford. His post was about 13 hours ago, and you'll see him because he's got on a Whataburger shirt. And Duke, for some reason, I just don't know why it's not giving me the audio. I'm sorry.
well, go to Chris Redford's page, watch this video. If you want a good laugh, you want some good entertainment, this guy right here knocks it out of the park. I'm telling you, Tommy Chandler and me, and I mean, we can't hold a candle to what he put out there. It is hilarious.
And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to download this video, and so let's kind of move on, then we'll come back to it. How about that?
I got you. Well, anyway, Erin McCarty and her, they they had their on Keel. Robert and Aaron had
Hmm.
their 25-year anniversary today.
Oh, really? Wow.
They did, and it was pretty good. She had a great article, and on I think it was posted on Kiss Country or something of that thing, and she actually addressed this issue, and she pointed out some of the mayor's salaries in the cities, and I'll just kind of around the state,
Hmm.
and I'll read them out, and our viewers can take from it what they want. But Baton Rouge, $175,000 a year.
Whoa.
New Orleans, $174,000 a year.
Hmm.
Monroe, $141,000 a year.
Mm.
Lafayette, $125,000 a year. In Bossier City,
Drum roll, please.
$94,000 a year.
But he's got a Tahoe.
But he's got and a nice Tahoe at that.
Right.
So I expect that the next council meeting, a point of order is going to be raised to address the disparity in Bossier City mayor's pay being the lowest of all of the regional major cities. I mean, and
Well,
I'm pretty confident that David Montgomery is going to bring that resolution or
oh, I'm
something.
sure David's going to try to cut it in half.
No, David's going to be the one. We got to shoot for the moon.
Well, yeah, and then he'll probably try to come back and insinuate that Tommy asked for the salary to be doubled, kind of like that whole Tahoe thing. But anyway, I digress. I'm sorry, folks.
You may be on to something there. I hope David's not watching and tries to use that. But if he
Right,
does, that's fine.
right. Okay. So, what else do we have on tap tonight? Boy, these ads are crazy.
Well, we talked about the resurrection of George DeMint.
Yes, we did.
And interestingly, we're talking about Bossier City and David Montgomery. But George DeMint was cited in Bossier City in the conduct of business this week.
Really? And so that would be like official conduct of business, right?
Well, I guess it was official. I
Okay.
mean,
Let me see if
something.
I can find that and bring that up here. Here we go. Okay, so let me get our screenshot. Oh, there's Duke again at Whataburger. Making me hungry for Whataburger. All right, here we go. Oh, look, there it is. Gosh. Hey guys, I don't believe our meetings have been handled the way they should be. I'll again take the blame for that. Again, I will ask each of you to please ask the chair, president, which would be Bubba Don Williams, to speak, and I will certainly recognize you. Also ask that we all speak on the agenda item that we're currently discussing and nothing else. And I think this is in addition to the fact that they were trying their darndest to avoid any more walking quorums via email and text messages, too, folks. Also, let's conduct ourselves in a professional manner like the professionals we are. Cough, cough. Like, like Mayor George DeMint always said, he's probably rolling over in his grave, which he did pass away apparently in 2014. I looked it up. So, if we're going to cuss and discuss, let's do it behind closed doors. It works much better that way. I'm definitely including myself in all this. Hopefully you understand. Thanks, Don Bubba Williams. Shall you poke holes at that or shall I first?
Well, you are reading it so well. Go ahead, knock yourself out.
In the first place, if I would have had time today, I would have absolutely labeled this upcoming show this evening the Cuss and Discuss Show. But now that is going to be the title of this show, the Cuss and Discuss Show, number 7. Manner like professionals, I could easily argue that, and we could go back and play some clips of David Montgomery. And hey, we could play some clips of Tommy asking about that one guy but not knowing the code. I mean, that could go both ways. But this closed door thing, that is the one where they just opened mouth and changed feet.
But the thing is he didn't say that. George DeMint said that, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you kind of have a point, but he said they should conduct themselves in the professional manner, like Mayor George DeMint always said. So that sounds to me, and Bubba Don, I'm just picking on you a little bit right here. You know, this is not for the recall thing that's going on and all that, but he's telling them to say all that behind closed doors. That, to me, sounds like before the meeting and they decide everything and come in and everybody votes unanimously, which is how it literally works, people. Remember the open meeting stuff that I showed you a couple episodes ago.
Now, and that's one of the things we've been saying is there's not enough of debate or argument on the issues or discussion on the issues. It doesn't have to be argument. It can be discussion.
Sure.
I would say if somebody wanted to see, and I'm going to throw Shreveport some credit, I watched 2 hours of it today. I was actually impressed with the dialogue that all of those council members over there had. They actually were talking about the subjects, debating them openly, and anybody watching could view, see, and hear the opinions. But you know what you get over here in Bossier is you don't get the opinions or what they really believe. You know, it's just a rubber stamp and move along.
Groupthink.
You need to have that debate. You need to have that argument between the two and let people see the argument to hear one side and hear the other side of the story and come to a conclusion of, well, you know what? I either fall on this side or that side and what side I believe.
Right. Because, again, folks, just I'm referring back to the open meetings law, frequently asked questions and documentation and all that. But when you have that groupthink like we see over here in Bossier so many times, then that means they have discussed and decided all this beforehand more often than not. And that gets into either borderline walking quorum or actually, I would argue, most of the time is a walking quorum. And that means they've discussed all this and decided everything before they get in the meeting, so they can just hurry up. They make a motion, bam, instant second, and then everybody votes, and oh, everybody agrees. That's not the way it's supposed to be. I want them to argue and debate where it's borderline. They go out in the parking lot, but they don't go to the parking lot but once every blue moon.
Now, and again, not picking on Bubba Don. I like Bubba Don.
Sure.
As a person, but I think I disagree with him on this point. I mean, he agrees because he says it works much better that way. If they, if they cuss and discuss it behind closed doors, he's agreeing with this quote. He says that, akin it to George DeMint. And I mean, look, I was related to George DeMint. that was family. So, you know, I don't know that George would agree. He probably would. I'm not going to say that he didn't, but obviously Bubba Don agrees. So, he doesn't want to have that debate in the public.
Well, and look, folks, I'm not saying that the council members and other public officials shouldn't be able to reach out, or if they have, again, a chance meeting is the terminology. Let's say they're all a Whataburger. Or let's say two of them are a Whataburger and they're eating a double cheeseburger. Okay, and let's just say that it's Bubba Don and let's say it's David Montgomery, and they discuss the Tahoe issue and they decide, or the CAO position. And, they say, hey, what do you think, Bubba Don? Well, maybe blah, blah, blah. What do you think, David? And David says, well, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And okay, great. Well, we'll see you in the meeting. That, by law, is okay. It's a chance meeting. But the problem is if the same scenario and those two hypothetically are in Whataburger or Two Johns or Silver Star, and they discuss this, and then they call a couple of other council members. That becomes a walking quorum, and it's a no-no.
It's almost like, you don't want to have that discussion in the public for people to listen to it, because let's say, for example, if you are inclined to want to allow some development to happen in some place, but then for some reason you didn't want it to allow it to happen in some place, maybe, the public would be inclined to want to know what the reasoning and their elected official for coming to that conclusion. Maybe they would want to see the debate to learn why you might not would want a curb cut, or, oh, wait a minute. Did I say curb cut?
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
You're going back to that whole South Bossier thing.
Yeah.
Where the city lost $20+ million and got their hats handed to them. But I digress. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, we did get some information again pertaining to something that related to curb cuts and all, but
Yeah, we
the
did.
point, that's the reason you have public discussions, is so that people don't get twisted up on things,
Mm-hmm.
and have influence or
Mm-hmm.
attempts to influence um, the direction of government bodies or legislation, because you might not have it or be doing it in the best interest of the public.
Well, speaking of doing something in the best interest of the public and curb cuts, oh, look, magically, let me zoom in on this. Folks, I know some of y'all that are watching on mobile devices that, even though I'm making it as large as I can, it's a little hard to see. And that's why, we usually kind of read these out. And by the way, we've got over 30 people that are still watching, which is not bad for a Thursday evening, and we didn't really announce we were actually coming on tonight. So y'all make a few comments and let me know that y'all are still alive out there if everybody fell asleep. So, wait a minute. This is mentioning Jimmy Hall and curb cuts. Do you like have a crystal ball and knew what we were going to show?
Oh, wait a minute. It sure is. Where did you get that document at?
Well, this is some more of that trickle of information that we keep getting anonymously about the Bossier City Council. Now, we're going back in the past, but this is relevant today because it's a whole lot of the same players in the same scenario. Remember, they, back then, were going to teach that new Colonel Mayor a civics lesson.
Yeah, but he wasn't the mayor. It was George DeMint was the mayor. Was this what Bubba Don was talking about? Was this the way business needed to be done and what he was talking about?
Well, speaking of the way business needed to be done, let's see why I've got this document here and why this is relevant to how business has been done in the past in Bossier. Apparently, says now again, folks, this is back in the 2006 era. This is about the development in South Bossier with the Link Coleman property and the park that was going to be developed and all that, and that sidewalk to nowhere that's down there, and the 20 some odd $million it cost us. Okay, Jimmy Hall, who was city attorney back then, correct?
He was.
Okay, Jimmy Hall to draft an ordinance. Now let's see. Oh, council member David Jones purportedly wrote a request to city attorney Jimmy Hall to draft an ordinance preventing any more curb cuts on the Arthur Ray Teague Parkway. So purportedly it's David. But either way, Hall drafted an ordinance to have retroactive effect. Why would they do something to have retroactive effect with curb cuts? And folks, that's where they take the curb. You can have sections out to build a driveway and what do they call it? Ingress, regress, I don't know. So that's what they're talking about with these curb cuts. So why would they do this to have retroactive effects and disallowing any curb cuts not already existing as of July 1 back then?
I think maybe it was because that rogue colonel and a engineer may have already made some approvals of curb cuts or already gave permission, or which would have been standard practice then. I don't know. I'm guessing. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. And folks, any of y'all that, kept up with this back in the day, feel free to comment or ask questions. There is a reason that we're going back in time here. But here's the next highlighted deal. This ordinance had no legitimate governmental objective. That is golden right there. How many times have we said, and a lot of other people, that a lot of times the government does stuff to just be mean, or that doesn't really have any purpose, or is a complete waste of time and tax dollars? Okay. Well, yeah, go ahead.
That begs the question, what then was the objective if there was no governmental objective?
Well, interestingly, I think this document clears that up here in a second. All right.
Oh, okay.
So this ordinance transferred the function of curb cut approval from those with greater expertise, the MPC, which is what, the Metropolitan Planning Commissioner or whatever, anyway, and city engineer, hey, there's that word engineer, to a body with lesser expertise, the council. Now, is it just me, or didn't we have a discussion just a few shows ago or not long ago about experience and being an engineer and not being an engineer, and somebody needed to read the MPC, read the code, and get somebody a copy right now, secretary, even though he wasn't president, demanding the secretary to do that? Am I imagining that?
No. I do recall. In fact, I mean, there's been a lot of hubbub about the city engineer down there in Bossier City by, interestingly, these same folks that had their hands all involved in this, and arguably, they all are controlling who the city has for an engineer and or who the city would approve to be the city engineer now. It's almost as if they're trying to control who would have the ability to get a curb cut, even today.
Yes. And look, I'm not going to make any bones about it. My reason for pointing this particular stuff out is because it stands out and the wording is golden, but it's to show how hypocritical they are. Period. Because it's okay to do it back then when they have a gain to be made, but it's not okay now just because it's a power struggle. Okay, so moving forward though, Hall admitted that in yellow in the middle, that the sole purpose of this ordinance, this is the city attorney, the sole purpose of this ordinance was to ensnare, that's a interesting choice of words, was to ensnare the Walker Place development.
So, if I'm reading this correctly, I'm reading that the policy and governance in Bossier City was seeking to go after a particular business entity or interest and get them caught up in this process and go. They were going after them.
Yeah, but the question is why? Because this business was trying to improve basically Bossier as a whole and South Bossier. I think the concept that I've seen the drawings of was actually pretty cool. And it was going to kind of be like a boardwalk down there around the Century Lake Center or Brookshire Center or whatever it is now. And looked really great. Why are they trying to cut the legs out from under? Oh, I'm sorry. Why are they trying to ensnare the Walker Place development? Why?
Why would you want to ensnare it? I'm with you. That is an amazing choice of words.
It's
Ensnare.
it's almost like somebody got caught out of a money making end of this bargain and got mad and got their feelings hurt and was trying to throw a power struggle around again.
Now, look, Jimmy Hall is no dummy. That is a smart individual,
Right.
and for him to use the word ensnare, quote ensnare, end quote. I mean, that's pretty interesting right there
Yeah, and
to use that terminology.
it gets even more interesting now.
It's almost as if maybe we're talking about passing the buck again or something.
Kind of sounds like the police jury, but this is back to the city council, folks. So stay with us here. All right, and again, there is a reason that we've got the time capsule on tonight. Okay, so you read on through this. Hall's job, last highlight down there, Hall's job was to cloak the city's actions with legitimacy. So basically, he was trying to justify them trying to ensnare the Walker Place development, or basically screw Link Coleman. Let's put it
Wait a
bluntly.
minute. Cloak the city's action with legitimacy. I mean, wait a minute. If you're an officer of the court, don't you have what is it? What are the judicial canons? Is that it or whatever? You've got like an obligation for this or for that or something about what
Well,
am
in
I
theory,
where
but
am I going?
you know how those lawyers and judges are. Well, I'm not going to say all of them, folks, but some of them.
I don't know. It seems like it's becoming a very common thing or whatever, but
It's it's kind of like trying to see if the attorney general is correct, not if the other person is wrong. It's seeing if the attorney general is correct.
well,
Anyway,
or if you're a Democrat one day before, even though the law says that you can't qualify to run as a Republican for something unless you've been a registered Republican, what was it, 30, 60 days
all
before,
right,
something like that, and
yeah,
you're not,
yeah.
and a judge says, oh, wait a minute, it don't matter. You could be a member of the, you know, Widwiki Society. I don't care. You can be a Republican and run tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, Terry, we're glad that you're here. Welcome to the show again and to the comments over there. We appreciate all the comments. And folks, feel free to comment, ask any questions. If you got anything to share
Nope.
about this information. Okay.
Nobody wants to comment on this, Rex. They're all like
Oh,
they're sitting there with their mouth open and you got their hands busy trying to close their mouth
yeah. And folks,
at what they're reading and seeing.
we're not making this up. The only thing that I did to these documents was put the yellow highlight on there. So again, kind of like the Cypress District, I'm not making this up. I'm using their documents and information to show stuff out.
Now wait a minute, Rex. The Cypress District says you make up plenty.
I know. But, okay. So let's swing back here. Okay, so for everybody that's a couple people have come in new, we're back in time, 2006 era, Link Coleman versus, war with City Hall and the City Council and all that. Okay. But the next City Council meeting would not be held until July 18th. Meanwhile, on July 13th, plaintiffs submitted the traffic study, the plaintiffs being apparently the good guys, the developers. The study requested by the MPC, thus fulfilling the MPC's condition for granting the curb cut and rendering the MPC's approval complete. Defendants, being the city council, the Bossier City Council, listen to this, defendants needed to undo the MPC's approval so that any new application by plaintiffs would be subject to the yet-to-be-passed ordinance disallowing curb cuts. That's a pure definition of trying to screw somebody. City Hall, or the City Council. And again, some of the same players that are still there today.
Yeah, but Tommy Chandler's eating Whataburger, Rex.
And he's doing it in a Tahoe. I bet he went through the dadgum Whataburger drive-through in the Tahoe. Tommy, you got to let us know. Did you go through the drive-through in the Tahoe?
You're that is what matters.
And did you have the future engineer in the Tahoe passenger seat?
Was he eating that damn Whataburger in that Tahoe? That's what I want to know.
And I want to know if Shane Cheatham was in the back seat with Chris Smith and they were passing their orders up to Tommy in the front seat. I'm sorry, folks.
No, 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 no. Shane Cheatham wasn't in there. Richard Ray was in there. Shane Cheatham wasn't. Richard Ray was in there.
Richard Ray was in there making sure the order passed legal city muster.
Now,
Okay.
now look, Alan Seaball was sitting back there somewhere with like a mask or something on hiding. He had to be. He was in there somewhere.
He had on the Seabiscuit hat.
The
That's what it
Seabit.
was.
That was
All
it.
right, mask. Yeah,
Nobody
okay.
recognized
All
him.
right. So anyway, folks, we're squirrel ran across the deal over here, so we're paying attention to that. All right, so let's move forward and then we'll get through this. So on July 14th, the day after receiving that Fair and Piers traffic study, Marsiglio wrote listen to this word, a fraudulent letter to Sequoia purporting to invalidate the MPC's prior approval of the Walker place. And Marsiglio has has a fraudulent letter. These aren't our documents. This is not Rex saying this was fraudulent. It's not Duke saying it. Here it is, folks.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting if they said that, that is a fake document. Boy, that would be an interesting scenario. Wouldn't it? Unlike the Cypress district.
Yeah. Well, I got to give them credit. They try. It's hard to fight the truth, so they do the best they can. They've hired a really expensive law firm to do their PR. That should tell you everything. Okay. Marsiglia has no legal authority as MPC executive director to invalidate an MPC approval. No such authority. Oh, wait, listen to this sentence. No such authority in the Bossier City, no such authority appears in the Bossier City Parish Unified Development Code. And the grounds he cited for his purported invalidation were false. So I'm just going to stop there. Where have we heard about people reading the city charter and the code before? Again, wasn't that just not long ago by some of these same folks that back then chose just to trash it?
It's almost as if they use points of order to denote that someone should read the charter when they think it's best in their interest.
Yeah.
Let's get the charter out when it suits me. But you know what? Maybe we need to do it the George Dement way.
Yeah, maybe so. Back in those back meetings or whatever. All right. So let's come, we're going to put away the time machine. And so, folks, as we get more and more information trickled to us, we review through it and see some interesting things and then try to tie it into some of the things that are going on today. So that's the point of the time capsule back to this war.
And whoever is sending us what we're getting, feel free to send us more, because hopefully we have proven that if you build it, we will come.
Yes. Now, the only thing is, thanks a lot, Duke, because we already have days and days worth of reading ahead of us, and you've just extended the offer to send us more and more work.
Look, you know what? I hope this is the gift that keeps on giving, because I'm liking what I'm seeing.
So far, so good. Okay, so moving on, what are we going to discuss next?
Well, since we're talking about Bossier, and I've heard over the years people complain, like the police jury, arguably one of the only ones that I know of that has meetings that are, well, when they're open to the public or when they're not, breaking the open meeting laws, is the Cypress district. They have them in the afternoons for people, but the police jury has them during the middle of the day. Bossier City has them during the middle of the day. Some people argue that, well, that's because people are at work and they don't want people to come, and that's the best way to prevent people from coming. And
there's an argument to be made for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but out there on social media, Chris Smith has proposed a resolution
Really?
to change the meeting times of the Bossier City Council meetings.
Really? Let's put
Um,
that up on the screen. Is that the adopt a resolution amending Resolution 56 of 2021, specifically
yep,
section regular council meetings? Okay, good for
it
Chris.
got it. They got it on the. I mean, it's got about as good of a chance as a snowball in hell, I think. But
Hey, he's
the
trying.
people have asked for it, and he's putting it forward.
Yeah, and I know that may be a
So
little fuzzy, folks, but let me kind of scan through it. The current resolution states the city council shall hold regular meetings on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 3 p.m. In the event there are five, that will hold it on the last Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. And he's trying to get the time change amended. Um,
right there,
to
the
be held,
second
yeah, there we go.
whereas.
Yeah. Trying to get the time change to be amended to 6 p.m. That's what the people are asking him to do, folks. At least he's trying. I'm sure it'll be probably like, his nomination for Shane as CAO, like, it'll be crickets.
It will. I think it would be a great idea. I mean, because
All right.
think about it. I mean, that dadgum traffic, on Benton Road, Airline Drive, 6 o'clock. I mean, you can't hardly even get home. Why not? I tell you what, let's just stop off at the city council meeting at 6 o'clock and
Yeah,
we'll wait till the traffic dies down and we can do our civic duty and participate and be there available.
sure. And then go to Whataburger right after.
And then, yeah, absolutely. We just bring Waterburger. Now,
We sound like an advertisement for Whataburger tonight, folks.
now
All
they
right.
may call the marshal's office. You're rattling them fries a little bit too much. I think I know who would say that. Point of order. Can we
Point of
read the
order.
rules?
Yeah.
You're rattling them fries and sucking on that straw too hard. I can't concentrate here.
All right, so folks, we got like nearly 40 people watching right now, which is excellent for Thursday evening. So y'all comment and let us know. Would you prefer, would you be able to go to more meetings if they held them in the evening, say around 6 o'clock? What does everybody else think? We think it's a good idea, but not everybody's schedule's the same. All right. What is next, Mr. Lowry?
Well, I was wondering, about that Bubba Don recall. You heard anything on that? I haven't heard anything.
Well, there's been a little chatter from the mysterious Mark Smith fly on the wall in some of the commentary about they formed a pack and certain people were there when they weren't because I literally was there. So I haven't, honestly, I didn't get an update from Jeff, and I forget who's the vice chairman of it. And I have not done a public request yet to see the signature count. Honestly, I was going to wait till after probably the first week or two, give them plenty of time to go out through the neighborhoods and do their things. I do know that they're handing out signs. Anybody in the audience watching that is part of that recall group, if you want to put a comment up with an update about it, I'll be glad to put the comment up there, and we'll be glad to share out a little information. And again, honestly, I'm a little neutral on the whole recall Bubba Don thing. I don't have pitchforks and a torch out for him. However, I gotta say, that little email I understand the premise of what his email was, but some of the little details in there, I just didn't like the way that was worded. And, so I could kind of go either way on that deal.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but you know, back to talking about last show and kind of some of the things we talked about.
Mhm.
Now, still some people think that Robert Berry resigned.
Okay. So let me be clear, folks. And yes, this is Louisiana Watch, but this involves Baton Rouge. See, there's the whole Louisiana state tie-in right there. And it involves the Attorney General's office and the Ethics Board, all sorts of things with this. It just goes on and on. All right. So, yes, Robert Berry did attempt to resign back in 2013. And so I need to do a little bit of record correction because our last show, what was it, Tuesday night at our regularly scheduled time, I went by the Cypress District notes and the letter from the AG to the heirs law firm and Robert Berry, blah, 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 where Robert had said or made the statement in the presence of his attorneys that he had tried to resign, which is true. I'll give him credit for that. He actually did try to do the right thing back in 2013. The problem is that it was supposed to have been done about 8 days before this. And I went and looked. Like I said last show, not in the minutes. Well, there was a commenter on our show last Tuesday night. I didn't see it in real time, so I apologize. And brought to my attention that it was actually the July the 17th of 2013 Bossier Parish Police Jury meeting that it is in the minutes right there that he did make the attempt to resign, and I actually highlighted it. Check this out. Ms. Bennett stated that Mr. Robert Berry has submitted a letter of resignation, and we still are going to get a copy of that letter, from the Cypress Black Bayou Recreation and Water Conservation District Board of Commissioners. So he was trying to resign as a commissioner so he could keep being interim executive director without any issues. And if you go back and listen to some of the Cypress District's audio recordings of their meetings, you will see that there were other people raising that very same issue to him. Anyway, she stated since that time, Mr. Berry has advised that he desires to remain on the Board of Commissioners. Since that time, Mr. Berry has advised that he desires to remain on the Board of Commissioners for the Cypress Black Bayou Recreation and Water Conservation District. After further discussion, motion was made by Ms. Bennett, seconded by Mr. Rimmer, to reject the resignation of Mr. Robert Berry from the Cypress Black Bayou, blah, 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 and approve the reappointment of Mr. Berry to the Cypress District for a 5-year term expiring in July 31st, 2018, which, of course, they renewed it then. So they were well aware then of potential issues with this. But here's the interesting thing. This meeting is July the 17th. The Cypress District minutes that I showed were a week prior to this. Those are certified documents. Remember, Gary Weiss certified that those were the correct minutes for back in July of 2013. A week before this, Robert Berry was able to tell the Cypress District board members that the police jury had rejected his resignation. Now that contradicts what we see right here. And if you read it here, it says right there, she stated that since that time, Mr. Berry has advised that he desires to remain on the board. So the reason they reject it is because Robert Berry decided he wanted to stay on the board and be executive director. He wanted his cake and eat it too. And it's not about the money being a commissioner. The commissioners only make $40 a meeting per diem, and I forget it's up to 30-something times a year. And I don't think that Robert Berry has accepted the per diem payments since that time. Because as we all know, he's getting paid pretty darn swell to be the executive director.
If he offered his resignation, why would he do that? Did he think there was a problem? Did he think that there might have been some violation of the law? Why would he resign?
As I showed Tuesday night and pointed out to everybody, there were issues raised by the few people that were at the meeting. So this is not the first time he had heard about that. And Kevin Rigsby had a good point. Let me put that in there. So he tried to resign, then changed his mind, then stayed. Well, you got it, Kevin. And laughed all the way to the bank because he was cashing his paychecks.
But for some reason, I mean, has he got amnesia? I mean, because if I'm understanding that correctly, I mean, he's recently saying that, I think in some business, he's saying that he didn't realize there was a problem until maybe this year sometime, right?
You know, I'm just a little old guy, and you are, that we just try to get this information out there, and we do information requests and all that. So I know if we can figure this out, surely the $250,000 law firm could figure this out. And I want to point this out too.
Now,
Again,
now, Rex, you know all the appointing authorities. They know that we're just picking these numbers out of the sky and just making them up. That they're not legitimate. That we're just a bunch of blowhards that get this stuff from fairy dust, right?
yeah, that's pretty much it. Except here's the thing: this is in the charges from the ethics board. So there's been some debate over Robert, not debate, some discussion that Robert Barry is not making $157,000 and he doesn't even get insurance, which I think is true. He doesn't, I don't think they have an insurance deal with him, a health insurance deal. Uh, but so I guess the ethics board's lying. Why don't y'all accuse the ethics board of lying, Cypress District, and see how far that gets you in your negotiations with the ethics board, so hopefully that Robert Berry doesn't have to pay back
Yeah,
most of his salary. Right
yeah,
here,
but
the ethics board says, not Rex's numbers, the ethics board says Robert Berry is getting paid $157,700.84. Do you know where the ethics board got that number from?
I do not know. Actually, go ahead,
From the
tell me.
Cypress board. They didn't call me and ask.
Well,
So
I'm
when you hear these idiots on the Cypress board, I'll leave the newly appointed lady out because I don't know her well enough. So I'll leave her out of
well.
that group for now. But when you
So
hear
so
the
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So what you're telling me is if I'm an appointing authority and I appoint, let's say if I was on the Benton Town Council and I appointed Gary White and he says to me, or I'm on the council in the city of Bossier and my appointee tells me that it's not true, Robert Berry doesn't make 157,000, that's a lie, and then we say, well, you know what? The ethics board reflects that he made 157,000. And oh, by the way, they got that from the Cypress district. So did they lie to the ethics board? Is that what you're telling me? And
I
so,
don't know.
but but then now
I
all the appointing authorities are being told that it's a lie.
Gosh,
I,
Duke, would I ever insinuate that anybody on the Cypress board is outright lying? Of course not, Duke.
I just don't get it. But look, there's no way Robert Berry had no idea that he was potentially had some dual office holding issue. The thought never crossed his mind. I mean, he probably wanted to resign because he wanted to take a vacation to Hawaii with some of his friends. That's
Maybe, well,
probably the case.
probably so.
Probably the case.
Yeah, who
He was
knows?
overworked. I
Yeah,
mean,
all
he's
these jobs he did, he saved the district $750,000. And did you know he is a legit hero?
the $750,000 man needed a break. He needed a trip to Hawaii.
He's almost like Lee Majors. He was only $250,000 shy.
Oh, this is your tax dollars, by the way, all of y'all watching. We're just funning around about it, but they say we're lying, and the appointing authorities, y'all are being told that you're not getting accurate information. I'm wondering, when are you actually going to look into these things yourself?
Sure. Look, folks, the numbers don't lie. Ask them for their numbers, just like I have, or you can pull up the documents I've posted that literally have their numbers and ask them to refute some of that. Did they put out misinformation or just completely wrong information in a public information request? I don't know. Okay. So I want to put this up there for a second. I'm going to roll through this real quick. These are the answers to the ethics charges because there is an ongoing ethics hearing procedure or whatever with the ethics board against Robert Berry. I didn't file the ethics board stuff. This is the ethics board doing it. Anyway, I'm going to roll through these real quick. It's the blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Barry admits he was initially appointed to the district's Board of Commissioners on or about March the 11th, 2011 to fill the unexpired term of a board member. Let's see. Of course, he denies that he did any violation of the codes and all that. This is just the standard Ron Machado and Vazella and Lee Ayers talk, to deny everything. Okay, so let's move to the next page here. There's a couple
Oh,
of
wait a
good
minute.
things.
What? Barry denies that he would ever stoop to the level of eating at Whataburger. He is a steak and potatoes guy only.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that
Uh,
one. Thank
you
you for
did miss
pointing
that
that
one.
out. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. He denies. It's like my kid. No, Dad, we didn't leave your tools out in the yard to rust. We didn't break the fiberglass handle on your sledgehammer and splitting. Oh no, we didn't do that. We don't know how it happened. Anyway,
No.
okay.
I
See,
think it was in
blah
I think
blah
it was
blah.
in the end. You got to go to the one to where
I
he
think
had
you're
no
right.
idea. He had
Yeah.
no idea about.
Yeah, he didn't. All right, so in June of 2013, the district's former executive director um, resigned at the district's public meeting. There you go. There's that date. Remember, I just showed you the police jury date. Okay, so bear with me for a second. So the police jury minutes I just showed you were July the 17th. And look at this date, July the 9th. That's when he told them that, well, I tried to resign, but the police jury wouldn't accept it. It's like he was in Back to the Future. All right. See? Well, right here. Next paragraph. Prior to the July 9th, 2013 meeting, legal counsel for the district advised Barry and the board that nothing would prohibit Barry from being hired as interim director and remaining as a board member. Barry reasonably relied on the advice of legal counsel in good faith. Isn't there an expression, ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law or something like that?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, that really sounds like a good excuse that he was relying on legal counsel. So it's
Yeah.
almost as if he's saying, "Look, I really didn't have the intent to break the law. I mean, I did it because the law told me I could break the law."
Right. Yeah, kind of. I didn't mean to drive that fast over the speed limit. The accelerator did it. Okay. And look, they mentioned right here in the last paragraph, Barry reasonably relied on the advice of legal counsel in good faith. Are they like trying to actually go to bat for Barry? Oh wait, we must have changed over to a PR marketing document here. Because look, did you know, number 32, Barry also significantly reduced the district's budget by over $750,000 by personally taking over numerous responsibilities that would not typically fall within his job duties. What the hell does that have to do with dual office holding and the law?
I'm wondering. I'm wondering. I'm curious where those $750,000 were saved. Has anybody asked exactly what jobs and responsibilities did he eliminate
Well,
to be able to get that done?
there's another PR document that they put out when we started showing the meetings. I started videoing the meetings and presenting this information and crunching the numbers. They did put out another PR document. This was about a year ago that goes into detail on that. So a lot of this is they like copied and pasted this out of that other PR document. But what the hell does that have to do with the law?
Sounds to me like they're trying to sell the judge and the court down there in this hearing about, you
Well,
know, the $750,000 man and how good of a guy he is.
well, they are because look right here in number 33. He is faithfully and loyally. He was loyal to getting paid $100-something thousand a year. Okay. Literally performed his duties as executive director. In fact, in February 2014, while workers were performing work on the district's electrical system, Barry sustained serious injuries when he, at great risk to himself, attempted to rescue the two electrical workers who were actually being electrocuted at that moment by a high voltage transformer. Barry was able to rescue one of the workers. The other, unfortunately, passed away. Barry was honored by the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office with an Outstanding Achievement Award in recognition for his heroic actions on that day. Barry was also honored by the Veterans of Foreign Wars with the Life-Saving Award for his prompt and selfless life-saving actions on that day.
Well,
Now,
I'm not going to take away, and I know you're not meaning to take away
right,
from
right.
what he did in that event or what have you.
Yes.
But
He did save one of the guys that was being electrocuted, and unfortunately, the other guy did pass away. So no, I'm not trying to make light of the fact that somebody passed away that day and that guy's family and all that has had to live through all that. Absolutely not. But What does that have to do with dual office holding?
That does not give somebody the right to take advantage of the public and the taxpayers. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Are they saying he needs more money? He's already at 157,000 according to the ethics board, Gary Weish. Um, is he asking for another raise?
I'm thinking if he saved 750,000, maybe he needs to be being paid 749,000. That way he would still be saving the district money, right?
Yeah, there you go. Good point, Duke. I didn't even
That's
think about
still a
that.
win. That's still a win-win according to the
Yeah.
Cypress district.
And you know what? I want to throw this out there. I went to a lot of the meetings, not all of them this year. I have yet to hear or reading the minutes when they vote to change his salary. He's the executive director. You would think they need to do that in a public meeting. Cypress District.
Well,
when do y'all publicly decide to spend an extra 20 something $1,000 on one employee? When do y'all decide to do that? And does everybody approve it, or does the president unilaterally do it like Mel Allen did hiring the lobbyist? Exactly.
Rex,
do this?
show me where Mel Allen was elected to be the president of the Cypress district.
Jerry Fowler before him.
Well, show me
before him.
Show me where Gary White was. What meeting did they do it? I challenge anybody. If you're an appointing authority, go look at the meetings, go look at the minutes, and show us, tell us where any of these individuals were appointed. I mean, the state law is clear on this issue. Show us where they were, elected and the debate. Show us in the open meeting. You have to follow the open meetings laws.
Sure.
Show us.
Yeah. And look, I don't mind calling out the Benton Town Council. Mayor Horton, Shelley Horton, nice guy. Show us. What's Cathcart's name? Wayne? You're big buddies with Weiss. He's your appointee. You're the one that wanted him back on the board. That's fine. Show us where he got appointed president. Show us where they agreed to pay Robert Berry his salary increases. Show us that in the official minutes, because the only other way they could have done it was outside of an open meeting, which is a violation of the law. And y'all are well aware of that. Okay.
And we can't leave out Philip Rogers and King Cockroach, Doug Rimmer. And hey, the Don of Bossier, you're down there. Y'all have an appointee. All of y'all.
Yeah, you're right.
Show us. We show us where we're wrong. Prove us wrong.
Yeah. With documentation. Don't just come out and say we're wrong. Prove us wrong with documentation. We double dog dare you. All right. Anyway, so I'm going through this again, not making light of the fellow that died. That really was a bad situation. But for them to put that in a document, a response for an ethics charge for dual office holding, that's even over the top for Machota and Alex and Lee Ayers. Oh, and by the way, so the charges were directly against Robert Berry. Okay? And
not again. I got a feeling you're fixing to hit us with something.
Robert Berry's attorney is Ron Machota. Was Andrew Jacobs, brother of Charles Jacobs, but Andrew had to kind of drop off because of the conflict with a district attorney's dual office holding charges, and Charles Jacobs heard the case, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, got Ron Machota, right? Well, look who just happened to be in on the call. Alex Vazella. Do you know who Alex Vazella is? I mean, I mention her name all the time.
Counsel of record for the Cypress Black Bayou District.
Yeah, second paragraph. It doesn't say that Berry hired her as personal counsel, and the ethics charges are against Robert, the individual, not the entity, which would be the Cypress District. So why is Alex being paid? Because I promise you, she's being paid by our tax dollars, folks, to enroll as counsel of record for the Cypress District.
Whew, that is a good one.
So now we got two lawyers on the clock. But wait, there's more. Guess who else was on the call? Because they did it by phone call, conference call. Now, I want you to see Board of Ethics in the matter of Robert Berry. Okay? And just look, I happen to highlight it in yellow for us. Look who else was on the call. Lee Ayers himself of the Ayers Law Firm for which Alex Fazzella works.
Now, wait
There's
a
a,
minute. Look at that. Look at that sentence. Also present was Lee Ayers, an attorney with Miss Vozella's law firm.
oh, Lee must have sold out to Alex.
Are we playing whack-a-mole here?
I don't know, but he was just there participating as a potential witness. Now, the problem is
Okay.
we've asked for detailed billing before, several people have, and of course they try to swat that to the side and play ping pong with those kind of requests. Oh, they don't break out the individual billing when they bill the Cypress District for 250,000, nearly $50,000 a year or whatever they bill them for now. They don't break all of that out. They just bill them and they get a check cut. So I'm going to just guess, could be wrong, that Lee Ayers is on the time clock too for that call. And they're not cheap. They're like a couple $100 an hour, whatever the attorney general told them they could charge. There's set limits for that.
Dadgum, Bossier City, y'all listening? I mean, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour, and you could be getting up right here for about $100 an hour.
Ah,
Maybe
so
the Cypress District is onto something.
maybe so. I don't know. Anyway, I got to answer a text message real quick. So, what do we have coming up next?
Well, I think we have about beat the dead horse tonight.
Yeah,
You know, Waterburger Matters, that's the end result. And Robert Berry says he had no knowledge that he could potentially be dual office holding, even though he, out of the goodness of his heart, tried to resign for some unknown reason. Who knows why he all of a sudden wanted to resign way back. But today, this year, he didn't even have a clue that he could potentially be dual office holding until 2021.
I don't
How
know
does that happen?
who's the worst leech. You ever been swimming in a bayou or creek and everything's fine? You come out and you got daggum leeches stuck to you, and those little suckers are not easy to get off sometimes. I don't know which one's worse, the law firm or the executive director. I, I just it's just amazing. And somebody asked me, said, "Well, how can we stop Alex Vazella from billing the taxpayers for being on that phone call?" I said, "Well, you got to sue them." And by the way, I want to be on record for reminding everybody, because this rumor is floating around, that I said it first on here weeks ago and through some text messages and emails that even though the Attorney General has told the Ayers Law Firm they can no longer represent the Cypress District after I think it's October or whatever, except one other case, I bet you anything they just don't leave.
Well, it's also kind of like the fact that the dual office holding has already been settled by the 26th JDC.
Yeah, it's not like it's on appeal or anything by the AG's office.
No, it's not like there's a higher court that's something and that's could go to and maybe be overruled and kicked back down to, it ain't like there's another day in court.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. I mean, we're still at nearly 40 people watching through all of this. We appreciate it, folks. We've got, we could talk for literally decades sitting here. First of all, if you need to send some information to us, you can email to either bossierwatch at protonmail.com. Go make your own free, anonymous Proton Mail account. Don't put your identifying information in it. Send one to bossierwatch at protonmail.com or LouisianaWatch at protonmail.com. Don't put any identifying information in there. We do get a lot of those, and we do check them out as we can. Sometimes it takes a while because we have our own businesses and things that we're trying to do. This is our citizen journalism slash punditry hobby that we do. So, but we rely a lot on other folks sending information that we check out because we can't be everywhere. So we appreciate all of you watching and commenting, and shoot us some emails.
Don't let politicians use COVID against you.
we
There
will
are
have to
some dirt.
talk. We will
There
have
are
to talk more
dirtbag
about this.
politicians that are trying to use COVID as a wedge against you. Don't let them do it.
I agree 100%. There's was a Facebook Live meeting somewhere on Facebook about some of that and the kids going to school. So that's another big issue. We'll have more information on that. Okay, folks, we're out of here. Thanks for watching. Like and follow. Get your
Good
friends to
night.
like and follow. See y'all later.